Most of us have been taught to hold a stiff upper lip when it comes to loss, grief, sadness, and to just kind of hold it all in, be strong, keep going, and to not sit and address this, the grief or the loss or the sadness. And I'm here to tell you that is not the way to approach anything that's causing you to mourn. As we were taught by our beloved Jesus Christ in Matthew 5:4, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. We have to understand that mourning and grieving and sadness is part of the human condition. It is so important to be able to mourn and mourn openly and mourn properly anytime you have anything that is triggering grief in your life or loss in your life or sadness in your life, because it's how we're wired, it's how we're created. In our infancy, we start with crying and cooing before we can even talk, because it's the way to express and release big emotions, especially emotions that cause us pain or sadness or discomfort. And holding it all in is one of the most detrimental things you can do for your mental health. I know there's a Japanese teaching, they have like crying senseis, a crying teacher. Sensei is a teacher where they'll go around teaching people to cry, because it's in Japan, like a lot of other modern cultures, you're supposed to just kind of hold it all in and maybe stay stoic or not to be too emotionally vulnerable or overbearing. And the need to mourn and cry is so important. It will relax your nervous system. It will bring you relief. It will bring people together that will comfort you. It will open your heart and bring you closer in your spiritual practices. So, for example, for me, I used to also live by that rule of just kind of stay tough and stay strong and just kind of push through it. And when I started developing more of my spiritual practice and more of my mental health tools, I realized how important it was to cry. And I wasn't a crier. I wasn't. It's just not, it wasn't my nature. But then when I realized how important it is and I started allowing myself to cry, there were a lot of backed up tears that needed to come out. But at some point, it ends. Like the sadness ends. It actually does bring comfort. And a lot of my clients that come to me are also very strong and strong-willed and hold it all together and actually feel embarrassed to cry or feel that it's a weakness to cry, because they were also imprinted and socialized to stay strong and keep a stiff upper lip. Toughen up, buttercup, for example. These are sayings that I remember being told when I was doing suicide prevention research in Montana. So sitting there and not addressing the sadness, not addressing the mourning, people were taking their lives because the pain was so heavy, so heavy. And one of the fastest ways to have grief move through you is to mourn. Have sadness move through you is to cry it out. And when my clients start working with me and I just sit there and I ask them, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And that was probably the first time someone's asked them, sat there and looked at them and asked, hey, how are you doing? And they start crying and they don't even have words to express, and they were surprised and shocked by their own tears. And they would just cry and cry and cry. And then after a big cry session, and they didn't even talk, they literally just cried, they would take like a deep breath and be like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been there myself too. Just sometimes you just need to express it through tears, or sometimes you need to express it through words. But the whole goal here is to express the sadness. Sadness is not supposed to be held inside. It's supposed to be released through mourning. And with mourning, you will receive comfort. Either comfort from family, from friends, from a therapist, from even your pets, because they sense your emotions, right? When you're sad and you're sick and you're down, they come to you and they just give you love. So it is important to allow yourself to process any sadness, to allow yourself to mourn. That's where the relief will show up. That's where your nervous system will calm down. And that's when the heaviness will actually be lifted off of you. We're naturally designed to release it that way. So allow your body to naturally function the way it needs to function. Allow yourself to release. Okay, well, I hope that's been helpful for you to know how to address any kind of sadness, loss, breakups, or just hurt in general, to give yourself permission to mourn. Okay, let me know in the comments below if this helped you in any way, how it worked for you. I'd love to give you further feedback through the comments if these videos help you in any way. Thank you, and may peace be with you.